What if this isn't just another video, but a message your soul has been waiting for? What if you didn't land here by accident, but because something deep within you called you to stop, listen, and feel? You might think this was just a random click, something you did while scrolling through your day. But some moments are more than coincidence. Some moments carry a quiet power. They stop time, even for a second, and whisper to your spirit, "This is for you." That feeling stirring in your chest right now? That strange pull you can't explain? That's not your imagination. It's the beginning of something real. It's your inner self remembering something it never truly forgot. Because the truth is, you're not just hearing these words, you're feeling them. And that feeling is a sign. You're ready. What you're about to hear isn't surface level advice or spiritual entertainment. This isn't about pretty quotes or polished affirmations. This is about you, your frequency, your awakening, your power. And if you're still here, if something in you is quietly leaning in, it means your time has come. Maybe not your outer time, but your inner one. The time your soul has been preparing for long before your mind could understand it. For thousands of years, ancient teachers, mystics, and wise ones spoke of a truth that couldn't be handed out like information. A truth that couldn't be fully explained in words because it was never meant to be learned through logic. It had to be felt. It had to be remembered. It was hidden in myths, carved into sacred walls, encoded in symbols that only made sense when the soul was vibrating in a certain way. One of the great keepers of that knowledge was Thoth, the guardian of time, of wisdom, of memory. But Thoth didn't leave behind a written book. He left something much more powerful, a living vibration, a book that can't be opened with eyes, only with frequency. It doesn't respond to effort or intellect. It responds to alignment. It opens only when your energy matches the truth inside it. Like a door that only opens when you stop knocking and start becoming the key itself. And if you're still listening, if you're still here, it means something in you has already begun to match that vibration. Maybe softly, maybe quietly, but undeniably. That's why certain moments feel different. That's why you've been sensing things you can't explain. Gut feelings that come out of nowhere. Repeating numbers. Random flashes of memory or recognition. Unexplainable sadness. Sudden hope. These are not just signs. They are responses. The field is responding to your call. You've been taught your whole life that change comes through effort. That if you want to shift your reality, you have to work harder, think more positively, stay patient, and keep trying. And maybe you've done all of that. Maybe you've said the affirmations, made the vision boards, meditated every morning. Maybe you've repeated, "I am enough, I am loved, I am abundant," so many times. But deep down, something still feels stuck, still distant, still out of reach. This doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're awakening. Because no one told you this part. The universe doesn't respond to what you say. It responds to what you vibrate. You can speak all the right words, but if your energy says the opposite, the field listens to that instead. If you affirm wealth but feel fear when checking your bank account, the vibration is lack. If you affirm love but still carry unhealed wounds, the vibration is pain. If you affirm peace but feel pressure in your chest, the vibration is resistance. The universe reflects your deepest frequency, not your strongest desire. This is the truth that's hardest to accept because you've been trying, you've been doing the work, you've been following the teachings, but effort without alignment just creates exhaustion. You start to feel spiritually tired, like no matter how much you try, you're still not being heard. And then comes the worst part, self-doubt, the feeling that maybe you're the problem, that maybe you're not enough, that maybe you don't deserve it. But that's a lie. The problem isn't you. The problem is the code you were given, a code that taught you to chase instead of align, to repeat instead of embody, to try harder instead of becoming still. And here's where it gets deeper. Many manifestation methods, even the popular ones, unknowingly keep you in a loop of lack. They tell you to want more, visualize more, wait longer, keep hoping. But they don't tell you that wanting something is a vibration of not having it. And as long as you vibrate from that place, what you want stays far away. Because in the language of energy, wanting means it's still not mine. And the field agrees. Thoth knew this. That's why his true teachings weren't given to the masses, not because they were dangerous, but because they would break illusions. He taught that the world doesn't respond to effort. It responds to identity. That manifestation isn't about reaching towards something. It's about aligning with what you already are. But the ego hates this. The ego wants to be in control. It wants goals, techniques, rituals. It wants proof. It wants to feel like it's doing the work. But vibration doesn't come from doing. It comes from being. And you can't fake being. You can say, I am light. I am love. I am powerful. But if your body is tight, your energy is anxious, and your actions come from fear, the vibration is not aligned. This is where most people get stuck. They perform spirituality without embodying it. They light candles, chant mantras, attend workshops, follow teachers, and still feel a quiet emptiness inside. Because underneath it all, they are still waiting. Waiting for results. Waiting for proof. Waiting to be told that they've done enough to deserve what they desire. But waiting is a vibration of lack. It's soft, disguised as patience. But it says, not yet. It's not here. I'm not ready. And the field mirrors that. This is the golden trap of performative spirituality. It looks beautiful. It sounds wise. But it keeps you chasing. It keeps you thinking you need to heal more, clear more, learn more before you're ready. And while growth is sacred, the belief that you're not whole yet keeps you spinning in circles. You become someone who knows all the right words, but still vibrates doubt. You talk about abundance, but still feel lack. You talk about love, but still fear being alone. This is not awakening. This is performance, a carefully built image. But the field doesn't respond to appearances. It responds to coherence. Coherence is when your body, your mind, your heart, and your energy are all saying the same thing. It's when you don't just speak it. You feel it. You live it. You breathe it. To get there, you must let something die. Not your body, but the old identity, the self that is still trying, still doubting, still afraid. The self that learned how to speak spiritual words, but still vibrates from pain. That version of you can't cross into the new timeline. It can't carry the frequency of truth. It must dissolve. And when you let it go, something happens. something deep, silent, irreversible. You begin to embody a new state of being, not because you worked for it, but because you stopped pretending, you stopped waiting, you stopped seeking, and you started remembering. Because the real secret is this: what you are seeking is already inside you. And the moment you become it, not just say it, not just visualize it, but truly embody it, even if no one sees it, even if nothing outside you confirms it, that's when everything shifts. That's when the universe, the field, the timeline, finally responds. Not because you proved yourself, but because you finally remembered who you are. And once you do, you'll never go back. If just the thought of trusting again makes your chest tighten, that's not just anxiety. It's a message. It's a signal your body is sending out to the universe. The universe doesn't hear your words. It feels your energy. It reads the frequency you're holding, and your body is the speaker. You can say, "I trust," but if your body is tense, your breath is shallow, your shoulders are heavy, your heart is guarded, then your energy is saying something else entirely. You might tell yourself you're abundant, ready to receive, open to love. But if your stomach tightens every time you get a payment notification, if your body feels pressure every time you have to make a choice, if you flinch at the thought of depending on someone again, then your frequency is still survival. And the universe responds to that, not because it's punishing you, but because it's listening honestly. It can't be tricked by words. It listens to vibration. And your vibration is always being broadcast through your nervous system, your breath, your tension, your posture, everything. This doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It means you're still healing. It means that your body hasn't caught up with your desire yet. You're not lying to yourself when you say you want to change. You mean it. But the body needs time to relearn safety. It needs to experience what peace feels like, what trust feels like, what ease feels like, so it can start to believe you. Until then, your words might be new, but your vibration is still old. You're saying, "I believe," but your body is saying, "I'm bracing." You're saying, "I'm ready," but your body is saying, "I don't feel safe." And that's the energy the universe mirrors back. Your body isn't just reflecting your mind. It's shaping your reality. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every fear you carry, it's all showing up in your body. Your body is the bridge between your inner world and your outer world. What you believe doesn't just live in your head. It lives in your breath, in how you walk, in how you sit, in how you hold yourself. The universe doesn't respond to the words coming from your mouth. It responds to the story your whole being is telling. And most people don't even realize they're walking contradictions. They say they believe, but they live in fear. They say they're open, but their hearts are closed. They say they're ready, but they're still waiting for life to prove it first. The universe hears that conflict is static, and static delays the response. So the real question isn't, what are you saying? It's, what is your body saying while you're saying it? Because that's what the universe hears loudest. The body doesn't respond to empty words. It responds to repetition, emotion, and lived experience. If your body hasn't felt what it's like to be relaxed, at peace, trusting, then it can't hold those frequencies for long. And if your body isn't holding the new identity, then your field isn't either. And the field is what shapes your life. That's why you can repeat all the affirmations in the world. But if your breath still tightens and your shoulders still rise with tension, your vibration is still survival, still defense. True transformation doesn't begin in the mind. It begins when your entire system begins to align. That's when the frequency changes. That's when the shift becomes real. There's something powerful that happens when you become present, not when you try to look spiritual or say the right things, but when you simply stop, breathe, notice what's going on inside, and listen. That's when the body begins to trust you. That's when your energy starts to sync up. Because when you stop performing and start being, your energy speaks more clearly. You can't fake presence. When you're fully here, when your breath is calm, your attention is inward, your body is at ease, your whole field becomes stable. That stability is powerful. It tells the universe, this is who I am now. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's just clear. And clarity creates results. What most people don't realize is that waiting is also a vibration. And it's often a hidden form of fear. People say they're waiting on divine timing, but inside, they're anxious. They're hoping. They're unsure. They're still feeling lack. They say it's coming, but what they're really vibrating is, it's not here. And that contradiction gets picked up by the field. You think you're being patient, but what you're really doing is postponing your own power. You're vibrating. Not yet. You're living from the energy of delay. And delay attracts more delay. No one teaches you that waiting is a frequency of absence. And absence does not attract presence. The more you wait, the more the universe reflects. Still not time. Still not ready. Still not enough. And it's not because you're being punished. It's because the universe responds to what's real. It responds to what you embody, not what you say. But the moment you stop waiting, the moment you drop into now and fully occupy the moment as if you already are what you're asking for, something shifts. Not because everything outside suddenly changes, but because you do. The field doesn't bend for future intentions. It bends for present embodiment. The moment you decide, I am this now, your frequency starts rearranging reality around you. That's not magic. That's alignment. That's physics. That's presence. You don't need proof. You don't need permission. You don't need the world to confirm anything before you start living like someone who already has it. All you need is a quiet certainty, a gentle inner knowing that doesn't beg, doesn't plead, doesn't panic. It just is. That energy is magnetic. It's peaceful. It's clear. And it changes everything. When you hold that vibration long enough, you stop needing to ask. You stop needing to chase. You stop needing signs. You stop needing external approval. Something inside you knows. And the knowing itself becomes the signal. That's the moment when the universe starts sending things to meet you, not because you're trying to manifest them, but because you've become a match. Not because you forced it, but because you aligned with it. And that's when the illusion of linear time begins to fall apart. Because time isn't what you thought. It's not a straight line. It's not a clock ticking. It's a mirror of your vibration. And when your vibration changes, your timeline bends. Suddenly, the things that felt far away begin to show up fast. People you haven't talked to in years resurface. Unexpected offers appear. Everything starts flowing, and it feels effortless. But it's not a coincidence. It's not random. It's you finally vibrating in sync with your future. This is when small miracles become normal. Not because you discovered a secret technique, but because you stopped standing on the outside of your own life. You stepped into the center of your field. And when you do that, reality starts orbiting around you. Not because you're manipulating it, but because you're finally present enough to receive it. But staying in that state is the challenge. It's easy to feel aligned when you're inspired, when you're meditating, when life feels good. The hard part is staying aligned when things still look the same, when bills still come, when messages go unanswered, when the evidence hasn't shown up yet. That's the moment most people fall back. They stop trusting. They tighten up. They go back into the old pattern, not because they failed, but because they believed what they saw more than what they felt. To hold your new vibration, you need to go deeper than thought. You need to feel it in your body. The body needs to experience it, because the body is what shapes the field. And it doesn't believe positive words. It believes emotions. It believes repetition. It believes what you feel over and over again with depth. That's why remembering a painful moment can make your body react like it's happening again. Your brain doesn't know the difference. That's the same power you can use for your future. If you can feel your desired future with the same emotional intensity as a memory, your body will begin to respond. Your breathing will change. Your posture will shift. Your energy will rise. That's called neurofusion. It's when your mind and body fuse an internal image with a real emotional experience so strongly that your whole system believes it's real. And once your body believes, the universe follows. That's the secret the mystics knew. That's how reality bends. Not through effort, but through embodiment. When you no longer try to become, because you already are. When your thoughts, emotions, breath, and body all tell the same story. That's coherence. And coherence is what creates change. But there's a side effect, one no one warns you about. When your vibration changes, you don't just attract new things. You also start repelling the old. Habits, beliefs, patterns, even relationships that no longer match your energy begin to fall away. And that can feel like grief. Even if your old self was anxious, doubtful, controlling, it was familiar. It kept you safe. And letting go of it feels like loss. You feel like a part of you is dying. And it is. The part that needed to prove itself. That needed control. That doubted its worth. That waited for guarantees. That part is dissolving. Not symbolically, energetically, vibrationally, neurologically. And when it dies, the field clears. And what's real begins to rise. You won't need to try to become anything. You'll realize you always were. You'll feel calm in places that used to trigger you. You'll feel whole where you used to feel empty. You'll feel like you finally belong in your own skin. Not because the world changed, but because you did. Quietly, completely. You stopped trying to control. Because you realize you never needed to. The ocean doesn't ask permission to wave. The flower doesn't shrink itself. The sun doesn't explain why it shines. It just shines. It just is. So can you. You were never meant to live in effort. You were meant to live in presence. Not waiting. not proving, just being. And that's when life stops resisting you, because you've stopped resisting yourself. And the moment you truly surrender to that truth, everything begins to move, not through force, but through grace, not through effort, but through energy, not through noise, but through stillness. That's when the universe answers, clearly, powerfully. Now, you don't need to resist life anymore. Not your intuition, not rest, not ease. Somewhere along the way, you were taught that life is a constant fight, that your worth depends on how much you achieve, how much you win, how much you prove. But nature doesn't work like that. Trees don't battle the wind to grow tall. Flowers don't hustle to bloom. The seed doesn't struggle with the soil. It trusts it. It lets go. It dissolves. And from that surrender, something beautiful is born. That's the truth you're slowly remembering. That resistance only creates tension. That control hardens the heart. That real power doesn't come from fighting, but from trusting. You're learning how to soften again, how to stop overthinking every step, how to stop living according to invisible rules about when you're allowed to feel safe, successful, or worthy. You're returning to something ancient and natural, a state where trust isn't something you try to force, but something you feel in your body. As that trust grows, something inside you shifts. You don't need to tense your muscles to seem strong anymore. You don't need to breathe fast or speak loudly to feel in control. You start to breathe differently, move differently. You carry yourself with a new presence, quiet, grounded, magnetic, a presence that doesn't have to prove anything to anyone. It just is. Your mind may still search for logic, but your body understands, because your body has always known. You didn't need to fix yourself. You just needed to stop resisting who you already are. This new way of being isn't about performance. It's not about being seen or praised. It's about existing in full alignment with your essence. Like a tree that stands still, rooted and tall, you begin to radiate strength without effort, without noise. Nature doesn't try to impress. It simply lives, and in doing so, it attracts. So do you, when you stop trying to chase and instead begin to embody. When you step into this flow, even your words change. You don't speak just to be heard. You speak with energy that carries weight, not because you rehearsed it, but because you live it. The universe responds to coherence, not to wishes. It listens to the energy behind your words, not just the words themselves. When your speech comes from your truth, your field, your full being, it carries power, not because it's loud, but because it's real. At this level, you're not asking anymore. You're not pleading. You're not wishing. You're remembering. You're activating. And that's what makes all the difference. Because asking comes from a place of lack. Manifesting comes from certainty. And that certainty isn't pride. It's peace. It's quiet confidence. There's no rush, no panic, no need to be seen. When you know something is already yours, you don't chase it. Your vibration brings it closer before you say a word. Your presence speaks for you. People feel it before you enter the room. The field rearranges itself to match who you've become. This isn't fantasy. It's alignment. You're not imagining it. You're experiencing it. Your body, your energy, your breath, all of it carries the truth that your mind used to doubt. And the universe, which listens not to your thoughts, but to your energetic signature, begins to respond. If your words come from emotional truth, embodied breath, and aligned posture, they become law, decrees, not because of volume, but because of origin. This is what it means to speak from the field. You're not speaking from effort. You're not trying to convince anyone. Your energy declares before your mouth opens. This is when you stop begging. You stop needing. Your frequency becomes your command. You don't manifest from pressure or repetition. You manifest by becoming what you once asked for. The vibration becomes your reality. The word becomes form. What was once invisible becomes visible, not because you forced it, but because you lived it. You're no longer asking. You are living as one who already knows. And that's where everything changes. This is the place most people never reach, because the final step requires the deepest release, the surrender. It's easy to say you trust, but true surrender has no backup plan. It doesn't quietly check whether things are working. It doesn't need updates. Real surrender is when you stop digging up the seed every hour to see if it's growing. You plant it, and you let it be. That's not weakness. That's mastery. But the mind will resist. It will want to see progress. It will want certainty. It will demand a timeline. And that's where most people get stuck, because the invisible doesn't obey the calendar. It doesn't follow human logic. The invisible lives in frequency, not in deadlines. And it responds when ego becomes still. When I need it to happen transforms into I already am this now. When desire becomes presence. When effort becomes flow. When trying becomes being. You stop demanding the universe reflect your emotions, and instead, you become the source. You stop looking for signs and begin embodying the answer. You live as someone who already received it, even if it hasn't yet shown up. And strangely, that's when it begins to appear. Reality can't resist truth. It bends toward those who vibrate wholeness. Things move. People shift. Doors open. You feel it in your bones, in the peace you carry, in the way your body no longer flinches at the unknown, in the way your breath no longer races to catch up to life. But for that peace to stay, you must root yourself in a very particular space, not a place you travel to, a state you live in, a frequency where creation becomes natural. This is when something ancient inside you awakens. Not a voice, not a vision, a remembrance, a knowing that was always there, buried beneath layers of fear, effort, and doubt. This is the moment when the so-called forbidden book reveals itself. Not a book made of paper or symbols, but a living energy in your body, a code written in your cells, a truth embedded in your field. This book can't be read by the eyes. It's activated by vibration. That's why so many searched for it in the wrong places. It doesn't open when you try to control it. It reveals itself when you stop looking outward and start aligning inward. Every breath you take in presence, every time you stand in your truth, every moment you feel peace instead of fear, it lights up another word in this sacred book. You don't unlock it with force. You unlock it by being. And when it opens, you'll know. You won't need anyone to tell you. Your thoughts will become clearer, your decisions more aligned, your energy more refined, Reality itself will treat you differently, not because it changed, but because you became the very thing you were searching for. You are no longer decoding the message. You have become the message. Yet even now, there's one more thing. Every truth must be sealed in the physical. The field responds to energy, yes, but the world responds to action. The final step is living it, taking action not to prove something, but because it would no longer make sense to act any other way. You move as the new version of yourself. You choose from that place. You speak from that place. You walk with the vibration of someone who knows. This becomes your seal. This becomes the point of no return. You are no longer the seeker. You are the embodiment. You didn't get this far by chance. You moved through layers of programming, patterns, emotional weight, and fear. You faced the mirror. You silenced the noise. And maybe without realizing it, you've already started creating a new reality. Now, it's time to seal that transformation consciously. This takes presence. It takes a physical gesture, a practical, real-world activation, something that sends a clear signal to the universe. I'm no longer waiting. I am being. So take that step now. Write it down. Feel it. Declare it with your full being. I am the field. It is already done. Not as a wish, but as a vibration. This isn't just a sentence. It's a code, a key, a declaration that locks in a new energetic state. And from here, everything starts to shift. There's one more teaching that no one talks about. Your body vibrates higher than any mental affirmation. So practice this with your full presence. 3 times a day, close your eyes. Breathe deeply for 1 minute and simply feel it already happening. Don't imagine. Don't wish. Just be. That shapes your field more than any technique. Because the universe doesn't respond to hoping, it responds to alignment. Pay attention to the little things. How you get out of bed, how you speak to others, how you move through your day. Every small action either matches or breaks your energetic truth. Start living like someone who already is. Every time you catch yourself waiting, shift into being. Whisper, it is. I am. It's done. Let that become your rhythm. Let that be your command. Record your voice saying who you already are. I am peace. I am love. I am healed. I am abundant. But only say what feels real in your body. Listen to it when you wake up and before you sleep. This reprograms not only your mind, but your electromagnetic field. And you don't do this alone. The more you live in this truth, the more others awaken too. The more you share, not by speaking, but by embodying, the stronger the collective vibration becomes. So share this message, not to spread information, but to spread activation. Every time someone else wakes up, your field strengthens. This is the deeper secret. Thoth's real teaching wasn't a technique or a chant. It was a quiet, ancient truth. It already is. When you realize that, you stop searching. You stop waiting for signs. You stop chasing teachings. You understand that the most sacred power doesn't live outside you. It vibrates within you. You are the field. You are the source. You are the living frequency of creation. All that's left now is to walk as someone who already knows. Say it again, not just with your mouth, but with your entire being. I am the field. I am ready to live as one who already is. This isn't just a comment. It's a signal, a vibration, a decree. And when you write those words, when you live them, you don't just change your life. You awaken something in everyone around you. You didn't come here to seek. You came here to remember. And now, it's time to be.